If you're thinking of making a move to Utah because you've heard of how amazing it is to live here, but you're not quite sure which town is right for you, well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the towns in southern Utah that line the I-15. We'll get a general overview of what you can expect as far as scenery, climate, population, and housing costs to help you decide which of these towns is right for you. All right, let's get to it. If this is your first time to this channel, we go over everything there is to know about living in southern Utah. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you are looking to make a move to southern Utah, please don't hesitate to reach out. I get calls, texts, emails from people just like you every single day that are looking to make a move to southern Utah. I promise you I will respond. All right, let's break down southern Utah, give you an idea of what you can expect here, and help you decide which of these towns you should dive deeper into. I have jumped into Google Maps here so that we can start out by giving you the location of these cities and what you can expect. Now, we are taking a look at southern Utah, so we're going to focus this down in the southwest corner of the state of Utah. We'll go right along the I-15 here and take a look at some of the towns that you might be interested in if you are moving here. Now, I want to break it up based on counties. Now, we first have Washington County. This is outlined in red, and it is going to border the state of Utah. So you've got Nevada on the west, and you've got Arizona on the south. Now, just above that to the north is going to be Iron County. Again, it is outlined here in red, and this will be the second part of southern Utah that we take a look at. So we'll first jump back to Washington County, and what I want to talk about first is going to be the scenery in Washington County, because it is going to be quite a bit different than the scenery that you will see in Iron County. Remember, this one is more south in the state of Utah, so you are getting a lower desert here. Southern Utah is still considered a desert. However, Washington County is a lower desert, whereas Iron County is going to be a high desert. So within Washington County, it is going to look still very much like your typical desert. There's not a lot of greenage, but what's beautiful about this area is there are a lot of red cliffs where you're just getting a lot of those red rock cliffs and canyons and views around this area in Washington, Utah. Now, the first city that I want to show you here in Washington is going to be St. George, Utah. This is one that you have probably heard of often. It is the most well-known city in southern Utah, so this is likely what you looked up to get here, or Cedar City, which is in Iron County, another well-known city for southern Utah. So we'll start here in St. George. Now, as you cross the Arizona border, you are going to take the I-15 here, and that is going to take you to St. George before it takes you anywhere else. It is outlined in red here so that you can see it easily. Now, again, St. George is the largest city that we are taking a look at in Washington County, as well as in southern Utah as a whole. The population here is over 108,000, almost 109,000, based on an estimate of the 2020 census. The median home price here in the St. George area for the last year is sitting right around $490,000. Now, just to the left of St. George, or up in the west corner, you're looking at Santa Clara, Utah. Now, Santa Clara really feels more like a suburb of St. George, but it is actually its own city. So it's right to the west of St. George, Utah. It has a much smaller population, sitting just over 8,500 people. Again, that's an estimate based on the 2020 census of what it is at the end of 2023. The median sales price for Santa Clara over the last year is a little bit higher than St. George. We're actually sitting at around $567,000 for the median sales price for Santa Clara. Now, just a little bit northwest of Santa Clara is the town of Ivins. Ivins, again, is still just a suburb. You really can't tell the difference going from St. George to Santa Clara to Ivins. They all kind of blend together, but again, it is its own city. Ivins is just a little bit larger than Santa Clara as far as population goes. It's sitting just over 10,500 people, and the median sales price here over the last year for Ivins is even higher than Santa Clara. And you'll notice that St. George, as the more central location, is going to have a lower median sales price, and as you get out further from St. George, then the median sales price goes up a little higher. And the reason that is because St. George is a little bit more congested. Within St. George, you've got the college in there, so that brings a lot of student housing, which brings down that price. It also has more aged housing, so that is bringing down the median sales price. But as you come out to Santa Clara and Ivins, that median sales price is going up a little bit. So for Ivins, the median sales price over the last year is about $650,000. Now, the next town I wanted to note here in Washington County is actually the town of Washington. If we take a look at St. George here, Washington is just to the east of St. George. So if we take a look at that on the map here, you can see this red line outlines the town of Washington. Again, we've got St. George here right to the west of Washington. All of these are pretty close to the I-15, so they have really easy access. Now, the town of Washington is going to be the largest suburb of St. George. The population here is over 36,000, and the median sales price here is higher than St. George's median sales price. It's not quite as high as Santa Clara and Ivins, though. The median sales price for the last year in Washington is sitting right around $525,000. So that kind of gives you an idea of the immediate towns around St. George as far as price point goes to see where you might want to start looking first. Now, if we pull out and we come back to St. George so you can see the I-15 there are a few other towns that I want to take a look here. We've got Leeds that's right off the I-15. We have Hurricane that's a little bit further off the I-15, about a 10-minute drive from there if you take the 9 down from the I-15. Just next to Hurricane is going to be Laverkin, right to the north of it, and then that bleeds right into Tokerville. So we do have a few smaller towns in Washington that are separated from St. George that you can also take a look at. Now, of these smaller towns that are separated from St. George, Hurricane is going to be the largest of them. The population in Hurricane is around 25,500 people currently, and the median sales price here is a little bit closer to the center of St. George. It's a little bit lower actually at around $480,000. The great thing about Hurricane is this actually feels like you're in a small town because you are separated from the greater St. George area. So this is a great location to look if you like the climate and temperatures down in Washington County, but you still want a small town. Now remember, just north of Hurricane is going to be Laverkin. Now, Hurricane will bleed right into Laverkin. However, again, it is its own town. Population here is just over 4,600 people with a median sales price of about $460,000 over the last year. So just slightly under Hurricane. Now, just west of Hurricane is going to be Tokerville. Tokerville is even smaller than Laverkin. This one actually connects back to the I-15 by taking the 17 heading north. The population here is just over 2,000 people, but the median sales price here is quite a bit larger. It is almost up to a median sales price of $578,000 over the last year. So as you get away from that larger area, which is considered Hurricane in this case, the home prices got just a little bit steeper here. Now, the next one I want to look at is Leeds. This is just off the I-15. You blink and you're going to miss it. There's not going to be any stores or anything, but it wraps around the I-15. Population here is about 895 people currently, really a small town, but the median sales price is right around $620,000 for the last year. Now, I wanted to give you an idea of the climate for this area. I just pulled the averages for the St. George area because all of these towns surrounding it have a very similar climate, and so this is what you can kind of expect here. In the summer, the peak of the average high is around 102 degrees, with the low being around 76 degrees. In the winter, your highest peak or average is going to be right around 52 degrees with a low of 32 degrees. Now, you can pretty much plan on a degree, give or take, for this whole general area of Washington County. I will say that this is an average here. You are going to get some pretty hot days in the middle of summer in the St. George area, up to 110 and plus. So be aware that this area does get pretty hot in the summertime. However, the winters are absolutely beautiful. You don't need heavy coats. There are times in the month of December and January where you can actually go out in shorts if it's a nice sunny day. All right, so now that you have an idea of which towns are in Washington County, what you can expect as far as population, housing costs, and climate, let's take a look at some of the notable features that are around here. Right north of St. George, you've got the Red Cliffs National Conservation Area. You also have Snow Canyon State Park, which is absolutely stunning and beautiful. To the east here, which is between the St. George area and Hurricane, you have Sand Hollow State Park, which is a sand dunes. It has man-made lakes. There is some rock crawling there if you're into jeeping. Really just a fun place to go and a great playground. You are also really near Zion's National Park here. This is actually between Iron County and Washington County, even though it's located in Washington County, it's really pretty split between the two. It's an equal driving distance between those two. So I just wanted to give you some of the notable features within Washington County to see if this is the right area for you. All right, let's jump over to Iron County now. Remember, this is just north of Washington County. We are still taking a look at the towns that go up the I-15 here. The first town that I want to note, though, is actually going to be New Harmony, Utah. And the reason I want to pull this one up first is because it is in Washington County. However, the scenery in New Harmony, because it is closer to Iron County, is a lot more similar to what you will get there, as well as the climate. So I kind of wanted to lump it here. Now, the scenery for Iron County, right along the I-15, I should be clear about that. This is going to be a high desert. This is going to be a lot more green. Down in the valley and the lower hills, you are going to see juniper trees. You will see a lot of farmland out here. And then up in the mountains to the east, you are also going to be seeing pine trees. It's just a lot more green up here in Iron County. All right, so let's take a look at some of these towns along the I-15 first, and then we'll kind of give you an idea of what you can expect as far as climate goes and some notable features in this area. Now, I will come back down here to New Harmony, but I want to focus in here first on Cedar City, Utah, because this is the largest town in Iron County, probably one that you have heard of before because it is home of the Utah Shakespeare Festival, which is a Tony Award-winning production. So it is a more notable town and the largest one here. Now, if we zoom in here, you can see this red dotted line is outlining the town of Cedar City. Again, I already gave you an idea of what the scenery looks like. The population in Cedar City currently, again, based on the estimate of the 2020 census, is over 41,000 people. It's actually around 41,400. So it is larger than any of the suburbs around St. George, but only a fraction of the size of St. George. The median sales price here in Cedar City for the last year is sitting right around $360,000. Cedar City is also a college town, so you do have Southern Utah University here with a lot of student housing that does bring that median sales price down. But again, as you get a little bit further away from the center of town, you will start to see those home prices increase. All right, now let's take it back down south on the I-15 and we will look at New Harmony, which is west of the I-15. This is one that is still in Washington County. However, it has similar features and climate to Cedar City. Now, New Harmony is going to be one of the smallest towns that you are going to find here, with a population of about 256 people. There is not shopping and the housing prices are much higher here. The median sales price for the last year here is right around $680,000. Now, just northeast of New Harmony and east of the I-15 is going to be Canaryville. Canaryville is still quite small, not much shopping there either. However, it's worth noting because it is right next to Canara Falls, which is a beautiful slot canyon that you won't want to miss if you're coming to Southern Utah. The population here is just over 480 people, but the median sales price is much lower than New Harmony, sitting right around $410,000 for the last year. Now, just north of Cedar City on the I-15 is going to be Enoch, Utah. It is not pronounced Enoch, it is Enoch, but that is just north of Cedar City. Enoch is going to be the next largest town in Iron County. It really feels like a suburb of Cedar City. They kind of bleed together. The difference here is the population is only just over 9,000 people, and this is going to be a lot of farmland out here. There's really not much in the way of shopping. You are driving into Cedar City to get your restaurants and shopping, which is really only about a 15-minute drive, so it's not too bad. The median sales price for Enoch over the last year is sitting right around $420,000. All right, if we head about 20 minutes north on the I-15, you are going to hit Parowan. This is a quaint little town in Southern Utah that I am actually in love with. This one and New Harmony is on my bucket list to retire to. However, Parowan is winning out at this point because it has more shopping available to me. Population here is sitting just over 3,300 people with a median sales price of just over $352,000 in the last year. Now, Parowan doesn't have a huge turnover in housing, so I would expect to be purchasing a lot in Parowan and building on it. A lot of these smaller towns, that is going to be the case. You aren't going to get as much turnover as you would in Cedar City, Enoch, St. George, Washington, Ivins, and Santa Clara. Even Hurricane has more turnover than you're going to see in La Verkin and Toquerville. Canaverville. So just something that I wanted to note there. Now, what makes the Cedar City area or Iron County so wonderful is you are getting a definite decrease in temperatures going from Washington County up to Iron County. Again, like with St. George, I pulled the Cedar City area temps because Enoch, Parowan, Canaverville, and New Harmony are going to be very close to this, give or take a degree here or there. In the summertime, the average hottest temperature is going to be around 90 degrees, with the low being around 63 degrees. In the wintertime, you can expect the lowest high to be around 43 degrees and the average low to be around 22 degrees. Now, as with St. George, I have seen the lows get down to 2 degrees in Cedar City, depending on what storm is coming through. And I have seen the temperature get up to 100 degrees in Cedar City, but that is not the average. Now, you'll notice between the Cedar City area and the St. George area, it really only shows about a 12-degree difference from the highest temperature here, and then only about an 11-degree difference from the high in the winter, but it actually feels quite different than that. I would say that sometimes it feels like it's about a 15 to 20-degree difference. Of course, every day is different, but you will feel a noticeable difference going from the Cedar City area to the St. George area and the St. George area to the Cedar City area. So I would recommend visiting both locations in the winter and in the summer to see which one suits you best. Now, Cedar City is going to get more rainfall than St. George. It's getting almost 13 inches a year of rainfall, whereas the St. George area is getting about 8 inches of rain each year. Remember, we're in a desert, so we're not getting a whole lot of rain. The difference between St. George and Cedar weather, though, is because Cedar is a high desert, you are going to get snow in Cedar City. Now, as far as inches go, if we base it just on this chart, it's about 52 inches of snow in Cedar City on average a year. However, that can fluctuate every year. Last year, we had a ton of snow in Cedar City. I'm sitting here at the end of December now, and we've had one snowstorm come through in November. It melted off, and I haven't seen it since. I thought we'd have it for Christmas, but we didn't. So we'll see what's coming. Every year is a little bit different. Last year we had a lot of snow. This year we haven't received very much. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of the climate along the I-15 in Iron County and what you can expect there. Now let's take a look at some of the notable features in Iron County. These two towns are not right off the I-15. However, they are very close to the Cedar City area. We have Bryan Head, Utah, which you will take by going through Parowan and coming up the 143. And then we have Duck Creek Village, which is actually not in Iron County. It's in Kane County, but you will get there from Cedar City going up the 14. Both of them are about a 45-minute drive from Cedar City, and so I did want to note them. Now, you don't get a lot of people living in these locations year-round, maybe around 100 to 200 people in both locations. These are really more mountain towns. Bryan Head is a ski resort town, so that's a great Southern Utah feature. And then Duck Creek Village has access to so many OHV trails that are great in the winter time for snowmobiling, as well as in the summer for jeeping or side-by-sides or whatever it is that you are riding. Now, although these are only about 45 minutes from Cedar City, I did want to show you their temperatures because they are going to be quite a bit different from Cedar City. You can see the high in the summer for Bryan Head is 72 with a low of 43, and then the lowest high in the winter is about 30 degrees with the lowest low at 10 degrees. Again, I've been up there when it has hit lower than that and when it has hit higher than that. These are going to be averages, but it's a noticeable difference from Cedar City. Same with Duck Creek, very similar temperatures as Bryan Head, give or take a degree in either direction. What I did want to note with these two towns is the difference in rainfall and snowfall. For Bryan Head, you're looking at about 33 inches of rain each year, and for Duck Creek, you're getting about 21 inches of rain each year. As far as snow goes, you can see Bryan Head is getting quite a bit of snow. Again, this is a ski town and it does have a higher elevation than Duck Creek does. If we go off of this chart here, Bryan Head's getting about 350 inches of snow a year, whereas Duck Creek is quite a bit lower than that, right around 85 inches of snow each year. Both places are great playgrounds in the winter to have access to that snow, as well as in the summer to escape the heat. So again, Bryan Head and Duck Creek are our two greatest notable features that are near Iron County or the Cedar City area. And then of course, I already kind of touched on Canara Falls, which is just east of Canaverville. Beautiful slot canyon that you will definitely want to take a look at. And then remember, I did say that Cedar City is the same distance to Zion National Park as St. George is very, very close. However, Cedar City is going to be a little bit closer to Bryce Canyon. That's still about an hour and a half drive, but it is a little bit closer. You'll definitely want to check that out. And then just north of Cedar City here, you are going to get Three Peaks Recreational Area, which is also a wonderful playground for people that love horse riding, ATV trails, disc golf, rock crawling, camping, you name it, it's out there. All right, that was definitely longer than I intended it to be. I tried to keep the information short and concise, but there are quite a few towns here that are worth taking a look at that you might be interested in. Now, I do dive in deeper to each of these towns on this channel. However, if you can't find the video or you have more questions or something I didn't answer, please feel free to leave a comment. If you are looking to make a move to Southern Utah, I would love to help you out with that. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. Please don't hesitate to reach out. You can call, text, or email, whatever you prefer. I promise you I will respond, even if it's just a quick question and you're not quite there yet. Let's get the conversation started. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.